supporting in the dating phase, because it sounds like there was a lot of breakdown around the things that she was particularly dealing with,
Yes.
specifically with her mom. And she was, when they met, her mother was alive, and she's an active caretaker for her mother. And he had lost his mother years prior. So he was his mom's caretaker. And ultimately she passed away. And I think it's interesting to think about what support looks like when you aren't committed. Like, I think it goes without saying, like, if Bree loses someone in her family, you are her husband. Like, you have the highest level of expectation on how to show up for her and support her, because that's your wife. But what does it look like when you meet someone and y'all are just dating and that type of thing happens? Should the expectations be a little bit different? Should you have any at all of them?
I think you should definitely have expectations. There are a lot of moments or periods in life to where not having expectations is a good thing. It's healthy to like make sure that you don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
It helps to balance out like disappointment in your life. So there are times to where it does make sense.
Yeah.
But I believe if you're in a situation where you're giving something, the expectation should be to receive something. There's a reason why charity is a word, because it's specifically defining that I'm giving something without expecting something back for what I'm giving.
Yeah.
That's why it's a different word than anything else.
Yes.
I'm not doing this for charity unless I designate. On the tax you have to. Unless I designate to you and let you know that this is charity. When I give something to you, I am expecting something in return.
Yeah.
If I give you my time, if I give you love, if I give you attention. I'm expecting something in return.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we don't really discuss is the emotional currency in relationships. It's easy when you go to the store and you give somebody money, you're expecting something in return.
Right.
But emotionally, what is that currency? What does that mean? Like, what do I ultimately get back? And I feel like when it comes to the support thing, if we are spending a lot of time together, if you express to me that you really care about me, that you're thinking about me, I know people that I am even not the closest friends with. They're not my wife.
Yeah.
I know people who are not like even super close, but if they lose someone, I'll still reach out, check up, like, how are you doing? Especially a parent, right? And you know what they may be dealing with. So to expect somebody you've been intimate with, somebody who's coming, I don't know if we said this in here, but in the long thing she wrote, was coming over her house with her mom, cooking them dinner every Tuesday.
Yes. Like, you were actually spending time with my mother.
You were actually spending time with my mother. For me not to expect you to then support me when I lose my mom, especially knowing that you've been through the same thing. Oh yeah, I expect that.
Yeah.
And if that don't happen, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I will throw him a little bail, because I really agree with practically everything you said. I do think that grief can be really tough, because grief has all of these built-in triggers, all these built-in layers. Like, as a person who's lost a parent, you know, most of the time, I've talked about my dad a lot on this this podcast. Most of the time today, because he's been dead for so long, I can speak of him without getting choked up, without getting extra emotional. In general, I remember him very fondly. And so I don't have these like really, like, when someone brings it up or someone's talking about their father, even if they're talking about their father passing away, I don't feel a very jarring, visceral reaction to it. But juxtaposition that with if my mom was the one who had passed away, and because my mother reared me and because our relationship was so much closer, it could be a bit more triggering for me if someone is experiencing that or they're going through it, for me to be able to fully show up and support them as much as they need to, because it's reminding me of my loss. Your new loss is reminding me of my old loss. I do, though, think that there's a way to communicate that. And when you mature in communication and not just age, you learn how to say how you can't show up. You can express what you can do and what you can't do. You have my condolences. I'm here for you. She did talk about in the longer version of what she wrote in that he did check on her when she went to bury her mother in a different state and all of that. But it to me is clear that he couldn't show up in the way she expected him to. Even when she found out about it, she just went to be with him and didn't necessarily tell him over the phone. But a part of that was because she feared that he wouldn't even receive her, that he would just be like, no. I think she felt that he wasn't going to be able to show up for her. I think she had a sense of that. And that's why she kind of held it in. And this is why, she's tiptoed around it and not just been all the way forward. Like, I really expected you to be here until her back was against the wall. So I'm with you. I do think when you're giving something, especially if you're spending time with me, you're literally spending time with the person who passed away. It's weird that you would like clam up or run away from me in a time where I kind of need you the most. I think he should have just said, this is so triggering for me. Like, yes, my mom has been deceased for a couple years now or whatever, but it's hard for me. And I know that I'm probably going to let you down a little bit, but like, I am here. I get it because I've been there, but it's just hard for me. And I don't want to get back down into that deep cycle of like when grief is very, very heavy. Ty was on here talking about that, like grief is, it never goes away, but you just figure out how to manage it better. And he just is probably not at the place yet where he's learned how to manage it without being triggered by other people losing their moms. So that's the little bit of bail I'm going to shoot to him, that he could just be very triggered by it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could be a case, but we also have to acknowledge too that sometimes just because you're going about something respectfully and necessarily the right way of doing it doesn't mean that it's any less hurtful to somebody else or that it is the solution to the problem in the sense that it's going to mend all issues in that situation. Like sometimes, like they say, the president, if it comes to my desk, is bad and worse. It's like there is no great decision that's going to make everybody happy.
Right.
And I see it all the time with decisions that people make in life, in sports, in jobs, in careers, like all these different things that sometimes you have to make a decision that's best for you.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore what the consequences of your decision may be.
That's true.
Like, yes, you may be triggered by this, even though, let's say your loss was 2 years ago, like I'm dealing with this right now. So although you might have that and that might be real and it might be triggering, just know your lack of being here for me has a consequence to it, right?
Totally.
So you have to protect yourself, but understand that it's not a
and
pass.
So do I.
Yeah, but it's not a pass. Yeah, like you said, so do I. It's not a pass for you. For me to be like, oh, okay, it's fine. Like, no, I need you.
Yeah.
You're saying you can't show up for me because you have your own thing that you're dealing with. I get that.
Yeah.
That if that's true, I hope it's true, because if it affects our relationship, you have to live in your own conviction that it was something that you really couldn't deal with and it wasn't BS, but it could affect how we move forward with things.
That's true.
So it's just like, that's that balance of like, yes, what you said is staying true, protect yourself if you need it, but also understanding that it could affect the relationship also move forward.
I agree totally. And I just think I think you really have to play it by ear, like realistically know when and how the relationship is flowing to know the level of support that you expect. Like if I met someone 3 weeks ago and I had a significant death in my family, I probably would tell them, because it would just be natural, because we've been maybe talking on the phone, maybe we went out on 1 or 2 dates, that like, oh, I don't want to use anybody in particular, but someone passed away. I wouldn't expect you to like come to my house or bring me. I would expect your condolences. I would expect your prayers. I would expect you to check on me, but I don't expect you to come to the funeral. I don't expect you to, like I said, pop up at my house. You may have never even been at my home 3 weeks in, but this sounds like they were dating for a few months. And at that point, especially once we've been physically intimate, and I've been in your house and you've been in my house, and again, you met this woman. You met the woman that I lost. Yeah, that feels just cringy. But if we just met a couple weeks ago, I mean, outside of saying, I'm very sorry for your loss, is there anything I could do, and praying for me, that's all that I would be looking for at that point with a new suitor.